Do you think that's going to make it in?
I love, do you think that's going to make it in as like the new hook?
Hello and welcome to Talking Too Loud. I'm your host, Chris Savage. And I'm joined as always by Sylvie Lubau. Sylvie, what's up?
How's it going?
Got a lot of energy today.
How's it going?
I've basically been creating chaos for Sylvie since before we started recording. So I hope she can put up with me for this one.
No. I'm here.
Okay,
I'm
good.
with it.
Amazing.
I got it.
Great. We have an amazing episode today. Our guest is Noah Kagan. Noah is the founder of AppSumo, which is a platform that helps entrepreneurs and small businesses grow by offering them handpicked deals on digital tools and software. But Noah and I go way back. I've known him for a very long time, and this is really a fun interview to do because we hadn't caught up in like 3 years, and like a lot has changed. And that meant we really, you're going to hear us catch up about like longevity and life. And Noah wrote a book and he's becoming a dad soon and just all this stuff. So I'm really excited. And I think this will be a different episode, but a cool one.
Yeah. It's almost like more raw.
Raw. Super raw. Like WWE Raw. Is that what you mean?
That's what I mean.
I told you we're coming in hot today. What's going on?
It's because I can't use the AC when we record.
Oh, I forgot. So you literally are hot.
So I'm too hot.
These heat waves, they're getting you.
They're getting me.
So, I mean, other than your AC, Sylvie, what's got you talking too loud?
Oh, man. Well, I'm going on vacation tomorrow.
Where?
Going to the DR, which will also
Nice.
be very hot. But there will be pools. There will be ocean.
There will be blood.
There
There'll
will
be pools.
Exactly.
I
Hopefully not
drink
pools of
your pina colada.
Yes. I'm very excited. I'm bringing pickleball paddles with me. This is the first time I've done this.
Now,
bringing them with me.
Okay.
They have nets there.
That's good.
They have nets.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I'm ready. What has you talking too loud?
I think masonry. Been doing some masonry
not
work.
expecting
yeah,
that.
around the house. Not myself, obviously, but after we finished rebuilding our basement that was flooded, we're like have to prevent flooding, and you're building up the window wells and stuff, and then it's just you don't appreciate just like when you get this stuff done right, how great it looks, how preventative it is. And I just think it's a underappreciated, undervalued thing. And I'm very passionate about great masonry right now.
Wow. You heard it here first.
How you build things matters. Okay. The craftsmanship, the quality, what goes into it, the planning. And, I think this interview with Noah, we talk about what it takes to build a company, what it takes to show up as a person leading that business. It's kind of the same thing. So we'll let the interview take it from here. Noah, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for coming on the show.
Number one Chris Savage fan, Noah Kagan here.
Dude, it's been too long. I'm so glad that you're here. Before we even got recording, you said, man, I can't believe you and I have been doing this long. I mean, how long have we known each other? Like 14 years, 13 years since I've met you? Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Super crazy.
There's a lot of exciting stuff going on in your world. But I want to start. The show is called Talking Too Loud because when I get excited, I can't control the vibe of my voice. The first thing I want to do is I want to know what's got you talking too loud. What's got you excited today?
I think of talking too loud as kind of kvetching. It's like a Yiddish word for complaining. And I'll tell you, here's what's the prices of things these days. It's out of control. It's just unacceptable. For instance, we're having a baby. We're having a baby shower. Super excited. I told my wife, look, every penny I've ever earned is for you and our baby. Make it the best. I don't even like showers, but spend it on the best baby shower that we could possibly do. So we go get these balloons. They get these balloon things. You see them all over Instagram. Mm-hmm. How much is a balloon half you? Like a half you thing? Just guess.
Oh, I mean,
$100.
I'm going to say more than that, but
Nice, Sylvie. $100.
$100? That's it?
Price is Right.
1,000.
No!
1,000. For $1,000, you can have Wistia for the entire life of your existence. You can own Wistia as a product. 1,000, and you know what? After you spend the 1,000, they take the balloons back.
It's a rental?
It's a rental. And
These are rental balloons?
And that's just balloons. I try to order food at a restaurant, and it's like, I don't know how, it's like minimum $100.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking, I'm going nice places, dude. I'm not going nice places. You know me.
Yeah,
once in a while,
I know
nice.
you. Yeah, yeah.
But it's just
yeah,
all
you treat yourself every once in a while. But yes.
So my wife is actually starting a balloon business. She did it herself. I was like, I love this woman. That's why I married her.
Yeah. Okay.
I love this.
But then too, just like the price out of control. They're out of control.
Is she starting it purely because you have this experience with the $1,000 rental, or this is already in the works?
She's a computer programmer, and for my book, $1 Million Weekend, that's what I'm supposed to say it 7 times.
I think you should hold it up.
It's not even. It's not video. Isn't it audio only?
No,
you're on video too.
So I had a book launch. We did a book baby birthday, and it was $600 for the balloons, which we both thought was insane. And then for the baby shower, it was $1,000, and she has more time, so she looked up Amazon for balloons. It was like $50 for all this stuff.
So now she's going to be renting balloons.
She rented the balloons. She's going to hire someone to support her to actually build the balloons and see if it's what she wants to do when she has the baby.
There you go. That's great. It is crazy though. I mean, I think about this all the time when I went to Shake Shack before a movie, and I haven't told you the story, have I, Sylvie?
I don't know the story.
And so my wife and I were going to a movie. We're like, oh, we'll go to Shake Shack first. And I go order 2 sandwiches, and it's like $10. And I'm like, wow, look at this. $10, 2 sandwiches. Like,
good price.
What a good deal, blah, blah. And then they were like, oh, thing's ready. 1 sandwich. Like, I just missed it. And I was like, come on. And so then we get the second sandwich. And of course, then I get like a mini shake as well. And it's like $26. And I'm like, how is this food I'm about to eat the same price that it is for Wistia a month? Like, I was just like, in that moment, something about that was just so crazy to me.
It's absurd.
It's crazy. Okay, look, I've known you for a long time, and one of the things that when I think about you, Noah, I think about someone who is like unafraid to talk to anybody, like unbelievable at like figuring out how to build real relationships with people, and also like unafraid to fail. Like, and it's interesting because you and I probably been caught up in like 3 years or something. But when I look at where you are today and the stuff you're doing, to me, it's like, oh, when I first met Noah, he's the guy who would go up to anybody at an event. He was unafraid to get any conversation. And like, I feel like your book and all the stuff you're doing is like it just seems like a further continuation of you. Is that true? Is that what your world is like today?
Man, that was really nice. Thank you. No, I really appreciate that.
You weren't expecting that.
As I'm older, I'm more impressed less with starting and more with longevity.
Yeah.
So just anybody who sticks with something, it's definitely something I admire, like you guys and what you and Brandon would have done. I don't know, man. Like, it's been an interesting thing. Monday through Wednesday, I felt really unworthy. I was just like, and I think sometimes we in a good way, business is a great way to feel worthy. Because you can either feel it with money, you can feel it with customers, you can feel it with helping another person. It's a good way to feel worthy, but then there's definitely an attachment to that outcome. There's an attachment to the sale, attachment to the revenue, attachment to the views. Yeah. And so it's been I think especially having a kid soon and, this book thing that came out, I think lately I'm trying to, how do I just feel worthy regardless of an outcome? And I think a lot of my years it was chasing that. It was like, how do I get more attention to finally feel worthy in these ways? And I don't know, the fear of asking these people, I think I'm still afraid of asking. I don't know, sometimes the upside of the ask is so high. I have the opposite problem lately, if I'm honest. Lately, I have to stop myself from asking for everything. Really? Example, I was at Wednesday night, I went mountain biking with my buddy Ian, and we got a little cup of ranch, and I was like, 1 ranch is enough. Just be happy with 1 ranch. And I was like, I just can't. And I told Ian, I'm not going to do it. And then the person came and I said, I'll have another ranch. And I was like, oh my God,
You're
no, stop.
You're a compulsive asker now.
I'm a compulsive asker. And I don't know, just this, I think it all comes from curiosity, Chris, where it's led me that, where I'm kind of curious about, you have a nice house, how'd you get it? Or you're doing something, how'd you do it? And a lot of it comes from my mom,
But like your show on YouTube, when you're going and asking these people who are, very wealthy, how they got their house or their car or like life advice and all this kind of stuff, you're asking questions that a lot of people are afraid to ask. And I know you're curious, but you've somehow crossed the chasm to be able to do it. Do you think there's some reason why that is? Is that just how you're wired? Is that just from your mom?
I think we are products of our environment. And so I grew up in an environment where, having an immigrant father, he didn't know that he's not supposed to ask for everything. He just didn't know. And so I'm seeing it embarrassed as a kid, and now I'm that embarrassing dad. And I think my mom as well is a very, very persistent, which is a trait most people don't do enough of. Very persistent.
What advice would you give to somebody who wants to have the confidence or the curiosity to ask more questions?
I'll say a few things. You ever notice that someone will ask you something and you don't understand it, and then you just don't understand? That's the moment to be like, hey, I don't really understand. And I think in college I didn't feel bad about not understanding. Someone was explaining something.
Yes.
No, especially as a CEO, like you don't want to look dumb. So if you don't understand, you look dumb. But I'm like, I just don't get it. And I think that's okay to just make sure you understand something. So I'd start with that. I think there's skills. Like you guys heard the coffee challenge. It's in $1 Million Weekend chapter 2. But basically you go and ask for a 10% discount when you buy a coffee. And the point is not getting the discount. The point is you ask and then you get rejected. And after you get rejected, you realize that asking is not so bad. And that's what business is. Can you be a Wistia customer? Can you come on my show? Will you come work for me? Will you be my wife? They're all asks. And it's a skill to develop just like anything. And there's not, knocking on doors. If I go up to your door, Chris, and I say, hey, what do you do for a living? You're like, what do you have a camera and who are you? When you knock on the door, you have to shift how you ask. And so I say, oh my God, I love your house. I love your house. I'm doing a documentary in your area. This house is so amazing. Really? Yeah. Han, who built it? What did you build it? Oh, that's so great. So what do you do for a living? This is such a cool area. I love it out here. Oh, and then that kind of, so what's this video? Oh yeah, I do these to share with the young people. You see, it's the same thing, just 2 asks. And it's a skill you can develop over time. And I think as people start practicing it more, they start getting what they want instead of getting what they get. Right? You get what you get if you don't ask for it.
And I think that the fear of failure, the fear of rejection or embarrassment stops people from asking. And I think it's also, I definitely used to have a lot more trouble asking. And then running a business, you realize I crave the feedback so bad, because if you get the feedback, you can actually improve the product or improve the service or figure out what's not working. And so if people who do ask and they say, why isn't this work this way? Or can I have X, Y, Z, is like really helpful information. Where to the point of like, if you get something that you order in a restaurant and it's not what you expected, or it isn't good, if you tell them, you're actually doing them a favor over the long term if they want to listen, right? But you have to ask. And I think I think just a lot of people have an big emotional hurdle to get over there even just like advocating for themselves by asking.
100%. I think 2 things that everyone can do today. Everyone can ask for feedback about something. You can ask a customer today, right now, hey, how'd you like the product? Would you like, I asked someone this morning, I said, oh, you bought the book? Where'd you hear about it from? Oh, I watched one of your YouTube videos. Oh, okay. Thanks for that. And so you can ask I asked my wife how I can improve. Last night I asked her, I said, how would you rate me 1 through 10 as a husband?
Dangerous.
I swear to God, I asked her for the feedback because that's how I'm going to get better. And I thought I was doing like an 8.5. She's like, you're doing 9.5. And I was like, that's amazing. I thought I was lower. Like, is there anything you'd like me to keep working on? She's like, well, you're on your technology too much. And I think she's nervous when the baby comes. I'm going to try to hire people to do the work, like a good leader. But she wants me to be that person. I'm joking. She's just concerned with that. And that's good. Now I have feedback.
I can just imagine. Baby's born, this crew shows up. You're going to be the swaddler. You're going to be changing diapers, okay? You're going to be taking care of me.
No. So anyways, the feedback with the relationship part is an example where if you're in a business and you're not making sales, go ask a customer why they're not buying. You can do this in all, if an employee, I had a meeting with Nick, who runs our growth, on Tuesday, and I was really mean in the meeting. At the end of the meeting, I said, this meeting sucked, huh? He's like, yeah. I'm like, can you tell me how I could have done better for our next meeting? Great, now I'll do better. And then the other part I was saying about this whole feedback and asking, which is really part of the elements of success, is realizing that the rejection is kind of fun. And it's never as painful as the upside of getting what you want. So, and I'm still getting rejected. You know, I'm trying to get Dave Portnoy on my podcast. I've been trying for like a year. Someone asked me yesterday, what's the difference between an entrepreneur and an entrepreneur? And the whole thing is just not yet. That's the only difference. And not yet is because you ask and you ask and you ask and you ask, and eventually it works out. But the rejection never stops. The rejection never stops, right? Because it's just a different form of someone not wanting it, and that's okay. Someone else will.
I want to go back into talking about like identity and having your identity tied to a business and how you kind of navigate that. Like you've had your identity attached to AppSumo for a long time. You've built up like, you know, your blog, you have now the book, the channel. How do you think about identity and tying it into business? And like, how do you find balance there?
I don't know if I have a good answer, man. There's times where I feel like I should be more famous. There's times where I feel like this book validated me. And then there's times where I feel pretty like I can't help any of these people, right? There's a lot of different feelings around my own identification that I think are very normal. And I think acknowledging that is okay. I think the biggest thing I'm trying to acknowledge for myself is at least I'm doing the things I want to do because I want to do them. And just being more attached to that center. What I'm noticing from people with this is that some people are like, hey, I want to do my thing, but no one's responding to it. And I think what you have to find in this existence from a professional standpoint is what feels that you feel good about what you're doing and people seem to respond to it. Because I think we generally get further away. So I don't know if I have a great answer for you on all this stuff, man. It's definitely been I think lately it's also what kind of person, what example am I setting for my daughter? I think that's the identity I'm trying to be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's awesome. I think your point on should you follow your passion or not, and I think actually what you want to do is try to find things you're really good at that people want, and then usually if you can do that, you can get passionate about it. And like success, right? If you're being successful and the numbers are going up and people are enjoying the stuff, it's much easier to get excited about that than like wallowing off in a lane where no one cares. But it does still take trying stuff and putting it out there and being comfortable that it might not work.
Yeah, I think people attach maybe their worth to these outcomes too much. Like if my book sells 10 copies versus 100, like why should I feel different? Right? It's kind of an interesting like thought process for each of us. And then I think it's a really good experiment in our identities, and our identities should evolve, right? Like if I'm 40-year-old Noah identifying like a high schooler, behaving like a high schooler, you know, maybe that's not the right identity for this phase of life. And it's kind of interesting to think about what parts of our identity have made us feel good about who we are in the current time. Like, what are these identity moments? Like, I had a great identity moment this morning where I said I would work out, and I did it. And I was like, I like that identity. I'm going to do more of that. And, you know, even with content, it's a struggle because the stuff that's popular or the stuff that I think people will resonate with, it's not also stuff I want to do or doesn't align to me. And it's also being able to accept that too, which is tough.
You're saying in that case, like accepting doing things that you believe will work, but you're not actually as excited about, versus like also on the other side, you know, the working out is like, I want to be someone who works out every day, and you work out and you feel good. You get the dopamine hit after, and you're like, I did it. I'm living that identity.
Yeah. I think it's identifying those things in our life. Like I take pride in brushing my teeth twice a day. And I have an identity that's like, I am a person that cares about hygiene. And I take pride in being on time. That's part of my identity now. And in my 20s, I'd be like, I'm 5 minutes late. You're 5 minutes late. We're both late, even though it's just me late. I'm going through an evolution, a transition right now where it was interesting when the book launched, the YouTube audience that I built and facilitated, they didn't give a shit about me, which is kind of interesting. They just cared about some guy knocking on doors.
Yes.
And so, which is okay.
Saying.
That's not bad. But I wanted to have a connection that I'm more connected to who they are and this stuff. And so we're shifting the content to more me sharing my own stories. And I think I've probably been shy, even though it might not seem like it. I'm feeling shy sharing myself versus others.
Like you've been playing a role, creating a type of content that fits a formula that people want, but that's a very small slice of your life and who you are. And so like, even though that's like a thing that people want, they'll keep going and connecting with. It's not who Noah is.
Yeah, and I think in all this stuff for everyone who's listening, for their own businesses, I think it's great to be public. I think what I'm noticing is like building brand and being public is probably one of the best things in business. One, you meet cool people like yourself. You get to learn how to do marketing, and you get to build a business out of it, whether it's this business or a future one. And it's finding the content that is effective. So like, for instance, the team wants me to put out a lot of content about like, how do we get to $1 billion business? Like this year we'll do almost 100 million in gross revenue. I don't give two fucks about getting to $1 billion. It doesn't do anything for me. Like I care more that we have a new site called 5taco.com. We're trying to get it to like 10,000 views. Like that, I'm like, let's try to see if this has product market fit.
Yeah.
That I get excited about. And so I think it's being authentic that I'm not going to do $1 billion content piece, but how do I make content similar to that that's as popular within areas that matter to me?
I want to talk about consistency. So you are somebody who when I think about Noah, I also think about consistency. You find something, you stay on it, you do it. Like
thanks,
AppSumo is a great example, but even your branding around tacos is like been since the very beginning. Nice. I think about like Adam Gilbert, who's started My Body Tutor, who, he's a consistency
He's the most consistent person I know.
Yeah, but you introduced me to him. He changed my life in terms of consistency. I've been doing this, it'll be 18 years in June, still at it, and I love it. But I look at the whole thing now as like, what does it take to make a great business or get in shape or do anything? It's just find the simple things that are obvious. Like you want to get in shape, it's like eat right, work out, sleep right. That's basically it. The hard part is the consistency. And so I see that in you and all the stuff you're doing, in how you put yourself out of the world, the content you make and all that. What advice do you have for people about consistency? How do you get consistent? How do you build routine? And am I right? Is that how you think about it too?
Oh man, what a big that literally is such a cool question, and it's such a great thing for people to recognize and really reflect on. Because I think people have been, a lot of people think, hey, I'm not consistent, but I think let's separate that out. Consistency is where success happens. Like the gym one time, you don't get results. The gym 10 times, you'll see results. The business one time doesn't get results. The business 10 years gets results. Now, a lot of people, this is what a lot of people think is they're not consistent. But I will say that every single person listening to this has been consistently breathing their entire life. They're very consistent breathers. So let's just start there. Like they've been breathing. They keep breathing. I don't know why they're good at it, but they keep doing it. Now, the question is, everyone's consistent in something. And so how do we build better habits? What are other areas that we can practice it in that will help us maybe in 5 years? I think that's the part that's a little hard. And what I've observed in consistency, I saw a guy on Twitter yesterday. He's like, I launched my product. I haven't gotten customers. I think I'm going to give up. And I think giving up on the business is fine, but not giving up on the trying and being consistent with that. And so a few things I would think about for consistency is, number one, think of consistency as a practice versus like a final destination. So a practice, like you fail at practices. That's why it's a practice. Like I'm practicing trying to figure out how I want to live my life these days. Now that I'm shifting into fatherhood and I want to work less and be more present with my family. So I'm practicing it. And I think if you practice consistency, you'll start realizing like, hey, I'm not doing good, but okay, I can fix that tomorrow. And I can fix that tomorrow. So I'd say that's been a huge shift in consistency. I also think if you're not good at consistency, have someone else do it for you. I haven't run AppSumo for all 15 years, right? I ran it for 4 years, then Anton ran it a year, Amy ran it 5 years, and then I'm back running it 3 years. So if you can't do it, that's okay. Find someone else who could be consistent. I don't know. I guess, it's funny. I think there is interesting about identity. I think I used to not think of myself as a consistent person. I think I used to think of myself as a flame out.
You're so hard on yourself.
I'm just telling you what I thought.
Yeah, no, I know, but
I am. My brother's even harder on himself than I am. I guess my mom's hard on herself. She's even harder. Yeah. She's like, my mom, she's 7 years old almost, goes to gym 5 days a week. She's like, I know I should have done 2-a-days. I'm not joking. So yeah, have other people do the consistency. And I think you can start identifying yourself in areas to be consistent. The last part of this is, as you're doing consistency, like two parts of it. I think one is that when you're not consistent, maybe have a little bit more gentleness in the inconsistencies. So I've been back to AppSumo CEO for 3 years. And for a year, I did this very strict morning routine. It was like, okay, wake up. You have to drink a bottle of water with LMNT. You're going to have a comb to your coffee. You're going to journal. You're going to read. You're going to do a few other things. And then you could, check your phone. And it was just like, da, 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 da. And this week I didn't get a journal. I like journaling on Mondays now. And I didn't get to do it this week until Wednesday. And I think in the past I would just be so like, oh, you suck. You're not consistent. And I think the more that we can reduce guilt and give grace to ourselves in these areas, like, hey, I wasn't consistent today, but I have another chance tomorrow. I think that's been a change. And I'll leave it with one last thing. We built a free tool. There's no sales, no nothing, called lawof100.com. And so if you're trying to do something, post content, go on sales, go on dates, it's literally just a site where you can check off to do something 100 times. And it just kind of makes an easy reminder to try something 100 times, because then it's easy to build a habit and consistency, and also then make informed decisions whether you should quit something. Be around consistent people. I don't hang out with people who are late. I have no friend. All my friends, they show up on time, and I'm always like, damn, you're on time. They're like, yeah, of course. If you're around a bunch of inconsistent mofos, that's okay. That's acceptable. So find people around you that are consistent. I used to tell people, you ever do this? I don't know if you guys do this. Hey, I'll call you later. And then I didn't call them later. I don't know. It's just a phrase.
Yeah.
And they said, no, you literally said, call me later. I thought you were going to call me later. Anyhow.
It's cool that you brought us on that journey, because I think it is so hard to get this stuff right. And then, but we know that it adds up, right? Like, there's so many different elements to what you just said there. Delegating to the right people, surrounding yourself by the people who you want to become. I think the rule of 100 thing is something that Sylvie and I have talked about on the show, law of 100, of just like, you need to do something 100 times versus 10 or 1 to like actually see it through. Yeah, it's funny because this is the hard stuff, right? It's like, oh, I want to do product research and figure out what's working in my product, what's not. It's like, well, the secret to that is just doing it, continuing to do it, even when your product's really good. Right? Like, it's like if you get complacent, you stop being consistent, that's when you're going to have a problem, versus if you make it a norm in the business, you're going to keep doing it. And I think it flows through so many things, and it's, I don't know, I'm on this kick of like believing that a lot of the stuff that we want, like the answers are actually pretty simple. It's just really hard to enact. It's like, that's how so much stuff is. Like, parenthood, same thing. It's just like, you want to be a great dad, like, you got to spend time with your kids consistently. You got to find a way to, it's okay, that's it. Then how do you actually fit it in? How do you actually do that in your life? And how do you save time for your partner? How do you save time for work and all this stuff? It's like, it's the consistency part that's hard.
Yeah, I think it's also recognizing to what you're saying. I like what you said, Chris, which is, if you know that the benefit of consistency is something really desirable, it makes it easy when the days you don't feel the days you don't feel for being consistent. Like, hey, you want to have a successful business, you want to be a successful parent, you want to be a successful husband. Like, if do it over for a period of time. The one thing that I will say I've done, and I'll do it at, in the next hour, is I do a consistency review at the end of the week. So I have a Slack bot that messages me. It comes, it just came. Friday weekly review, Noah Kagan. It comes at 2:30 p.m. Central. And my number 2 question is, were you consistent? And it's number 1 is sucked. Number 5, I don't know how phantasmal. I don't know who even made up. That's not a word.
System.
That's not on brand. I don't know if this adds. Oh shit, that didn't.
It's all Lord of the Rings themed. Like, that's the secret to Noah Kagan.
Is phantasmal Lord of the Rings?
I don't know.
Okay. I was like, wait,
Anyways, so I rate myself.
I don't think
this
anybody
week,
was saying that.
Yeah, I think Lord of the Rings is overrated. Lord of the Rings, boring. It's like the most boring movie ever. There's like a few of these movies I'm just like, I do not know how that's so far. Anyways, though, I rate myself each week. And this week with like Nick, I was really a poo-poo head, but I can improve. I think that's as important, because I notice at work, if people don't know what to expect, or if it's like you're hot and cold, it's not an ideal person to work with. It's not a great, leadership example.
Yeah, especially because so much of leadership is like mimicking, right? It's like people working with you a little bit and they're like, oh, this is the way Noah is. Like, and so it's like, if you are inconsistent, it really can throw people for a loop.
I would agree.
You love to start things. You love to build new things.
Really
like, you're just tired. It's like, I just got to get 10,000 views on this. Like, where do you get your inspiration for new ideas? And how do you stay creative?
So in terms of creativity, number 1, read The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. That's the book. That's the Bible. if you want to be creative, read that book. I think twofold, but primarily I just try to think about what things are problems I have that I'm interested in. And that's where I really then will spend a lot of my time. Just like, what are those areas? Like for the book, I was like, I've never done something that's going to take 4 years. Like everything, business is kind of like day to day even, but quarter or yearly or 3 year. And I was like, I want a long project. And so that was an interesting one. I think, we launched a thing called breezedoc.com. And it's because I was signing up for DocuSign and HelloSign, and then I was using it to sign an agreement, and then I would cancel it to save the $20 a month. I was like, this is just ridiculous. Like, how is this $20 a month to it's 2024. Like, let's let me sign it. So David and our originals team built a product. I think we built it in 60 days or less. And now it's out, and now we're using it. And now it's already, it's doing like almost 1,000 a day, which is pretty cool. And I was just like, hey, it was something that we wanted for ourselves and we liked. Now, I think one of the ways to be more creative is not being on a computer and doing more things outside your space. So I don't go to art museums, but I think you go to art museum. Maybe it's going for hikes. A lot of the creativity comes when you're not looking at the same things over and over. So are you looking at architecture? Are you going for walks? I think hikes are kind of cool. A lot of my best ideas are when I'm not working. But I think that's such a hard disconnect. Like I saw Jeff Bezos talk about a thing called wandering. He goes wandering. And I think it's, how do we even have more consistent wandering in our lives? And that is tough, because I think we measure ourselves by like direct transactional output. But if you can give that space, especially I think as leaders, that you're not in your normal environment, you get a lot more creative. So, I went on an RV trip 4 weeks ago. We just went to Florida for 2 weeks. Doesn't mean leaving your city. Just means leaving your environment, or even reading different material. Like, have you read Untamed by Glennon Doyle?
Oh, I know Glennon Doyle, but I haven't read the book.
You know her personally?
No.
Oh,
I know of Glennon Doyle.
Oh, okay. Anyways, it's like a woman empowerment book, and it's just so inspiring, and I loved it.
You got so excited. That's the most exciting. Are you telling me you know Glennon Doyle?
Thanks, dude. No, I don't know. Just like get outside a lot of the success of AppSumo is because we found something outside of AppSumo. We found, I think I've heard this, but like one of our biggest drivers of the business was giveaways. It still is giveaways. And I saw it in a women's magazine. And I was like browsing a women's magazine. I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. And then they did a giveaway, and I was like, oh, we should try that out. But I'd say that the other part of creativity is it's hard to measure creativity if you measure it by the success of other people liking it. That makes it feel like, hey, this is not creative if they didn't appreciate it. Because I've had videos that I've put out that I'm like, this is the best video I've put out. No one watches. And other videos that people did, I put out that I did that a lot of people watch. So I do think you have to come back to, are you proud of what you put out regardless of an external outcome of the work? And a lot of the work, I will say, like, I don't know how many videos now, a few hundred in the past 3 years, or tweets. I've sent an email for 10 years almost every single week. And, you have to realize that not every one of them does amazing, right? Very few, actually.
Yeah. I was also just thinking to myself of like,
tell me,
most people are not pushing their own thinking often. Like, it's hard, right, to like learn from people that you are not the target audience of, or like learn from people that you might disagree with normally. But it seems like that's something that you're consistently doing.
It's funny. I was thinking the opposite. I feel like I mute people probably way more than most.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Most people I block or mute because I find like it's like negative creativity. I think jealousy and negativity, all these stuff is actually productive in some doses, but I think too often we're letting negative exposure influence us in all account. Like I follow, I think 15 people on Instagram, and that's because I don't want to be influenced in those ways. Same with like Twitter. Like I see these people, here's how I'm rich, blocked. Here's my 6 different holding company businesses, muted. Here's another newsletter, muted. So there's not hate on any of that. I think the reality is that you're in control of your inputs. And so how do you get like positive inputs when you're going there, you're like, oh, this is benefiting me. Same on YouTube, any of these places. Same with the people you interact with. Like I hang out with, remember my buddy Neville?
Yes. Yeah. I saw him when I was in Austin for our offsite.
Yeah. I just, I'm around like someone like him, like give me more of that influence. Nick Gray, give me more of that influence. I want these like, weirdos And I try to make sure I get all their notifications. So I think it's like declining the ones that make you feel bad or not good or annoyed. And then the ones that are just, double down on them.
Can you talk a little bit about the book? So just for people who don't know it, what is the book? And then I'd love if you could also tell the story of how you chose the cover.
Yeah. So I had a dream in life to write a book one day. I never thought I would do it. But I want to encourage everyone. Everyone has a book in them. Every single person. I hope everyone that's listening, in your lifetime, you write a book. Whether you make it public or not is up to you. And I also think when you realize that you can write a book about your life, you can be the editor of it. You can change it. Like, you don't like how things are going, you can change it. You like how it's going, great. Keep that chapter, make it that chapter longer. And I had that dream to write a book, and 4 years ago when the pandemic happened, I was like, I think it's time. And so I tried to think about what I wanted to write about. I emailed this agent who's James Clear's agent. Her name is Lisa Demona. And I said, Lisa, I want to write a book. And she's like, yeah, you're joking, right? Because I put together a proposal, like a 2-page Word doc. And she rejected it. She's like, well, if you're serious, come back. So I hired a professional named David Moldawar. He's James Clear's proposal writer. And we spent a year working on the proposal. A year.
Oh, wow.
And then I went back to Lisa, and she's like, okay, you're serious. I'll take you as a client now. And it was nice to get that rejection in the beginning, because I wasn't serious. And then I was like, then you have to, I think in life, all we have to do is just commit. Commit makes everything better. It really does. Committing makes everything better. So I committed to the book, and it's been an amazing journey. The book is basically like everything I've learned and how I've been able to start businesses very quickly in a weekend. How I started AppSumo, and how I did Gambit, and how I've done tidycal.com, even this new BreezeDoc product. I did it in a day. I validated it in 24 hours, and now it's on track to be a 7-figure plus business. And I will say promoting a book is much harder than promoting software. Software, courses, that stuff's easy. Getting someone to buy a book is like I can't believe how hard it is to beg. What? Dude, no one buys books. I can't, I've sold millions of dollars, literally hundreds of millions of dollars of software. Selling 10,000 books was harder. My mom barely bought one of them. And she's like, she's like, I'm just going to inherit your money. I was like, what are you talking about, Mom? So
that's funny.
But so the number one thing with $1 Million Weekend is this book is hyper tested. It's literally tested at a singular granular level for every single word. And what I mean by that is 2011, I put out an article about how I start businesses, went viral. Then I did a course, sold millions of dollars about how I did it. Then I started putting out tweets. All of them, certain tweets did really well. And then from there, then systematically worked with 1,000 beta readers to read every single word. Then I had someone live with me.
Really?
Yeah. Then I had someone live with me, no joke, a stranger that, he applied, but I don't know him. Then I had for 6 months of 5 people each weekend reading the book. And all that feedback then led to where the book is today. And what I'm trying to say there is that if you have a great product, all this marketing stuff makes it a lot easier. That's bar none. And I think people miss out on that. They don't solve problems that are important. They just don't solve problems that are important.
And you're saying they underestimate how important having a great product is.
1,000,000%.
And the work that goes into making a great product.
What's that?
Yeah.
I said, and the work that goes into making it great. Like you were saying, you did all this work on the book. It wasn't.
I did all this work for 10,000 copies. No, I'm very proud of this. Here's something here's a test for everyone out there. Go use your product. I'll tell you, I've probably read this book more than anyone else. I love my book. I know that might sound strange, or people are like, oh, this guy's weird, which is good. I'm okay with it. I love it. It's one of my favorite books of all time. And I hope for Wistia and Sylvie, when you put out this episode, I hope you're like, that was the best episode we ever did. I did the best editing I cut out Noah completely, and it's only Chris talking. And I'm joking. But there's different elements. So how I run AppSumo, how I built the book is how I teach others to do it, where I didn't spend years building it knowing no one wanted it. I knew people were going to want it because I validated it. But then I wanted it to be as successful as possible. So it was working backwards from, number one, how do I make a great product? And how to make a product is, if someone who doesn't have a business, can they read this book and have a business? And the answer is yes. Now, your question on the marketing, which I think is just as fascinating. I think there's a lot of nuggets in there for others. Number one, go interview successful people about how they do it, or just go look at how they do it. So I went and interviewed James Clear years ago. James Clear told me his cover, they did 300 versions of Atomic Habits. Do you know that?
That's unbelievable. Yeah, that's crazy.
So this is the part, Chris, that people miss. People think James, like, how did this James guy get a successful book? It's crazy.
Yeah.
James wrote articles for 10 years. He built up a 2 million person email list. And then he's systematically tested every single thing in his book. It's not a surprise he's the #1 best-selling book of the decade. It's not, and I think people think it's a surprise. That's the difference. So James,
because they see the last part. They see the part when the book comes out and everyone gets it. They're talking about it, and you can't miss it. It's in the airport, and they see that part, but they don't see everything else.
Tony, well, he stole it from someone else, so I won't give him credit. But success leaves clues. Nothing. Tony Robbins is the most.
Sorry.
Tony Robbins has nothing original. I'll just put that. Everything he said is from Jim Rohn. Like he said, success leaves clues, but I know Tony didn't come up with it. I can't give him the props when I know he's not original. All of my stuff is from someone else. Look at Bikram Yoga; it's all rearranged. So, but with success leaves clues, which is I know people don't say that stuff publicly. But what I'm trying to say here is success leaves clues. So just work backwards from success. Consistency is success. Now, in the book world, same thing. So what I did is I went and read the 30 most popular books in categories I was competing with, and I did full book reports. So I highlighted the phrases they had. I had their layouts photoed. This is me. I just did it myself. And then I was like, okay, cool. I've studied the best. How do I take all those things and make it better than that? And so a lot of the elements of the book, and I interviewed those people as well. So I interviewed James Clear. He did 300 different covers. So I tested using Facebook ads, as well as qualitative groups, as well as Twitter polls, as well as email polls, email clicks, to eventually get on this bright green cover. And I can get into a little bit more about that, but I think what I'm really trying to get people to think about is, like, sometimes success is not as much as luck or surprise as we think. Like, even in James's book, like, people don't know this, but James intentionally, if you read the first chapter, there's 3 takeaways. Go read it. If you check out Atomic Habits, there's like the leave the shoes thing out. There's the 1% better, and I don't remember the other one, but it's in the first chapter. In most books, it's in like the 3rd, 5th chapter. No, James found that no one got to that point. He put it in the beginning. And so there's a lot of these elements for $1 Million Weekend, which I think, it's part of having fun, but a lot of it's not surprise that it's working. The cover itself, we tested, it tested for about 2 months, every single thing on the cover. The font, the size, the color, the subtitle. I think the biggest surprise was that the publisher literally sent me down. They're like, we do not support you doing a green book. They were like,
because no books are green, right?
No business books are green. Zero.
No business books are green. Yeah.
0 business books are green.
But they're the color of money.
It's the color of money. And now I think we're going to see more of them. I think it's pretty good. I really love it. But the point was that we did a lot of these tests on Facebook ads to see where people would click, and we tested with my email list, we tested with polls, I tested with what I preferred. I even did these mock-ups, and I brought all this data to the publisher, and they're like, no one does green in business ever. If you want to do it, it's your call. We don't want to do it. But it was just so obvious with the data that no one else was doing anything different. So I felt very confident, and now it's almost like, I don't know, I think the book's better than the cover. But if you have a crappy cover and no one gets to find all the good stuff, that's disappointing. And so I'm very glad that we spent probably 2 months testing just the cover to get to this point. And what happens, Chris, in success, people get tired, and they get tired at the most important part. Like we spent 4 years almost writing this book, and it's exhausting. Then you're like, okay, can someone fucking read it a little bit? Yeah. But like this last part where it's like going on shows, getting the cover right, getting all the marketing consistent, getting a launch plan ready, sticking with it afterwards too. That's hard. But my mom always said this, and it was a good quote. It's like the last mile is the most important because you'll forget how hard you ran after. And I've always kind of stuck with that.
Look, that's amazing. And I also think it's a great way to end this show. So Noah, where can people connect with you? I mean, you've said a few of the places, but where should they connect with you to like learn more, buy the book, all that stuff?
They can find me everywhere online. I mean, if this is a podcast, go check out my podcast, Noah Kagan Presents. Grab the book if you want to start a business, or just, I think people are reading the book and just feeling more confident and finding out who they can become. If you want to start, if you want great tools at great prices, Wistia, you were on there too long ago. Maybe we need to get you back. AppSumo.com. And yeah, that's, you can find me. Just search Noah Kagan anywhere.
Awesome. Thanks, dude. Good to see you. You know what's cool about that interview with Noah is that I've known that guy for such a long time, and he is the same person in so many ways that he was before. And so much of like the arc of his career and his company makes sense when you see that person. It's just, it was hard to see at first exactly how it show up, and now it's obvious. And it's just really cool to see that when you see somebody, you know them long enough, and you're like, oh, of course he's out there asking questions of random people. And of course he's completely transparent and honest about like where he's at. So it's really cool. And it was fun to see that.
Yeah. I didn't know him before this interview. I mean, like, I knew of him, but I didn't know him. And he is unequivocally himself. And there's something that's very like disarming about that and liberating about that. And the other thing that struck me is he talks so much about consistency in life and business. And I feel like that's sort of like a drum that you beat as well. And why is it so hard to be consistent? I guess is my question. Why is it so hard? What's the secret to consistency? What do you two drink that I don't drink?
Oh, well, I think you're pretty consistent with a bunch of things.
Okay. This wasn't meant to be a therapy
but you'd
session,
like
I
to go
swear.
there? Sure. Let's do another half hour on this.
What do you think? What has helped you be consistent?
Really?
Yeah, really.
I think whenever you're trying to build a habit, it is finding something you're already doing and then anchoring the change to it and recognizing you can't change too many things at once. That's, I think, probably the for me was the biggest unlock is like, hey, if I want to like sleep better and I want to meditate and I want to eat right and I want to run every day, I was like, okay, that's great that I'll do those things. If I try to do all those things every day from starting tomorrow, like you can't. It's impossible.
It's overwhelming.
But if you could say, like, let's pick something smaller. Let's say, actually, a real one. I decided I want to put sunscreen on every morning. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? And so I realized, oh, wait, I'll get a sunscreen that has a moisturizer. I'll put it next to my toothbrush. And when I get up the first thing in the morning that I do is brush my teeth, I'm going to put it on. I am adding a new habit in, but I'm anchoring it to something I'm doing already. And honestly, it was like easy to do. Now I do it every day. And
you need to find like a pairing system.
yeah. And you might have a long list of things you want to do. And the other advice that I've heard is like, if you can do it for 2 weeks, it's no longer hard to do it. It doesn't take any willpower. It's just the habit of what you do. So you kind of layer things in 2 weeks at a time. And I think,
Also,
at least for me, that's what works.
I love that Noah does morning pages.
It's really cool. It's like a thing that tons of people aspire to do. And you read it and you're like, I want to do it. How do you do it? It's like, you got to anchor it to something. You got to find some place to put it into your routine. And then it doesn't take willpower to do it.
That's it.
There you go. That's simple,
That's
everybody.
it.
Well, look, thank you for joining us. Please rate and review the podcast / show wherever you consume it. If you have feedback for us or questions, potential guests, you can email us at ttlpod@wistia.com. You can find Sylvie and I very active on LinkedIn, somewhat active on Twitter / X. But there is also, I almost forgot, the Talking Too Loud channels on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So check us out on all those platforms. And until next time, stay cool. Enjoy that pool, Sylvie.